Welcome, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and welcome to
Oh,
another fine edition of
good
Figuratively
evening.
Speaking. And I have my co host with me tonight, Eldor. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining.
Good to be here, sir. Indeed,
So,
you look rather rather festive there and all lit up, as it were.
yes. Uh, my family and I went to a uh, St. Patrick's Day parade today. Um,
Oh, yes.
we went to the St. Patrick's Day parade today, and then after that, we went to my church and did a free food giveaway, which we do every
That's very
Friday.
good.
So, yes, everything to help the community. That's what we all need to be
Mhm.
doing. Take that off and let me press that button. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be doing a little bit of a story, an unboxing, and review of King Grayskull and Hero.
Oh,
And
yes. Indeed.
with my co host, hopefully get this done the right way this time. Third time has to be the charm.
Speaking
Go.
of kings, I have a vintage king hiss with me, and he still comes with the blue tack on the feet.
Oh, nice. Very
Yes,
nice.
he arrived with old Cyclone Boy here, and he still does his little spin. Little
Yeah,
celebration there for St. Patty's Day.
absolutely. So, uh, first off, I want to say that Cyclone, I love that figure. That figure is probably one of my most favorite vintage.
He
And
still the sticker still works too, which is good
yes,
because most of them you see they come with the stickers missing. There was another fellow selling one of these, and of course, yes, the sticker was gone off him. So I need to track down his. Don't know if he came with any accessories or not, but otherwise, yes, just him.
yeah, he was one I definitely never had as vintage.
Well, you see,
And
with them destined to come out in Origins, you see, and I like to do a bit of a comparison with the vintage figures next to the Origins ones, and I figured, oh, yes, I better snap this one up and have them
yes,
ready for the eventuality of him coming out in Origins.
yes, absolutely. So, in the beginning of my other video that I tried to do this evening, I need to go back and revamp some of the things that I had said about the, King Grayskull. So, King Grayskull actually had two uh, of King Grayskull. So, King Devon Grayskull is actually uh, from 2000X series,
That's
and
right.
King Grayskull that we got from Revelation is a total revamp. I think Mattel did a really good job with being able to do both versions. Um, I don't know if there's actually a figure. Uh, as far as I know, there's not actually a figure for King Devon for 2000X.
I think there's possibly one in classics, sir, and I think there might have been one in a special Origins pack, but don't quote me on that one. But I do believe there is a King Grey Skull out there before the one they did with the darker skin from the Revelation.
Yes. So the comparison between the two of them are actually pretty similar. What I actually find funny with the 2000X series of King Grayskull, he has a very unnamed son, whereas King Grayskull from Revelation, he has two sons, Dayar and Ro, um, which I thought was kind of funny. Um, so to speak, with that because as similar as the two are, they both have the same queen. As one is noted as to be a queen, which is Queen Vina, and that would be uh, King Devon Grayskull, also known as just Devon Grayskull, and that's from the 2000X series. And then King Grayskull himself, as though they have never mentioned Vina in the Revelation series, that Queen Vina was actually a queen. So I find the comparisons pretty similar in a lot of ways, but then there's a lot of things with both because again, King Grayskull that we got with Revelations, with the bio history and all being said, he has two sons, Dayar and Ro, who is actually Hero. And then how Hero comes into play is kind of funny at the same time. Um, as we go through this, again, I've got my work cut out for me here tonight, trying to slap the pieces together and make them fit soundly.
Yes, that's why I thought to postpone Master Motor News. You see, because I would have to set all the screen share things up and what have you before 4 p.m. So I checked in with my co-host, and he's fine with that postponing till next Saturday. There, because no doubt we'll have some more news next week to cover.
Absolutely.
But how about we I see who's in the chat there. So
Yes, that most definitely. So going through our chat tonight. Hello, Carol. Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
evening.
Oz, Oz, thank you for being here. Good evening, sir.
In
And
order to have you here.
happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody.
Oh yeah,
Bobby,
happy
Vintage
St.
Mo,
Patrick's Day.
Vintage Motu. Bobby, how are you? Thank you for
Oh,
being here,
Bobby
sir.
understand. Good evening.
I
No, 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 sir. Where's my pot of gold?
yes. So um, I think it's an amazing thing with even the backstories of how they've made these characters really have their bios and how they come together. Um, so with I guess I'll start with why don't I start with King Devon Grayskull, um, because he's kind of really like, I don't want to say like he's the fluke of the two King Grayskulls because 2000X, as I've delved into the cartoon as well as the comics, he's got a pretty upstanding bio and story behind him. Um, but the stories are kind of between the two. They're not only conflicting, but they're very similar, should I say? So, starting with that, let's see the character history of King Devon Grayskull from the 2000X series. Obviously, he started in the 2002 TV series. Um, and in some ways, again, because of the Revelations uh, King Grayskull, we don't have King Devon Grayskull as we've seen him in 2000X. Now he's portrayed as a whole nother King Grayskull of Preternia. So how does that fit in, and how does that, because as King Grayskull from Preternia. That's 500 years before Eternia. Whereas really there's really no real history of as far as a timeline of where King Devon comes from. So as I see it, King Grayskull was once home, or Castle Grayskull was once home to King Grayskull and the ancestor of Prince Adam. King Grayskull waged battle against threats to Eternia such as the Snake Men and the evil Horde, uh, commanded by the tyrannical Hordak. During his lifetime, King Grayskull ruled with wisdom, compassion, alongside his wife, Vina. Now, again, she's not listed as Queen Vina for Devon, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
King Grayskull, excuse me, King Grayskull rode a powerful steed named Battle Lion, rather than before He-Man. Now that He-Man's there, it's Battle Cat. So there's similarities there, and to to really kind of see how, if Mattel actually ever brought Battle Lion to a fruition of a figure, what would that figure look like?
Well, something as nicely fleshed out as the Revelation Battle Cat, I suppose, but just all the extra lion parts and the mane and what have you. A bit of a
Yes,
different armor, you think?
absolutely. So, during a climactic battle outside of Castle Grayskull, Hordak attempted to open a portal to Despondos to destroy his hated enemy, King Grayskull. Summoning all of his strength, turned the portal on Hordak and his army, casting them into the void around Grayskull and trapping them in the dimension of Despondos. In doing this, he sacrificed his life to keep Eternia safe. So, the 2000X King Devon Grayskull, he sacrificed himself for his whole planetary good, which is really interesting in that. Whereas when you go into Revelation and you start looking at the backstory of King Grayskull here for Revelation, um, and of course in Revelation, he states in Preternia he was the first one to wield the power sword. So now that gives question is, how old is the power sword? When was it created? How old is actually the Trollan race? Because you've got the Trollan mages who also helped forge this sword.
And then you have the elders, of course, that combine their power to concentrate it all into the power orb of Castle Grayskull, which the sword channels the power through to He-Man, of course.
Correct. So I kind of look at King Devon Grayskull when I see King Devon Grayskull, I kind of think, um, and I definitely could be wrong, but I want to say more into that fortitude when Adam turned into He-Man without the assistance of the sword and not having the sword in hand when he called on the power, and then he became Savage He-Man. That's what this He-Man reminds me of.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, where they say that Devon is actually the ancestor of Prince Adam and Princess Adora, now it transpons in Revelations. Where does this King Grayskull fit into the story? And it really leaves a open timeline for it. Whereas King Grayskull in Revelation says he was the first one to hold the power sword, to wield it. So is King Grayskull, as we see in Revelation, the actually uh, first He-Man, really, as we see him, or is King Devon really the first? So
You do see Wanda and of course Hero in the Revelation series, but they gained their power by completely different means other than the power sword. Where you had Wanda, he had the magical armor of Zodak there, and of course Hero with his magical sword.
Hello.
Oh, we have some
yes,
visitors today.
we
Hello
have.
there.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, well, thank you, and to you also.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
It's gone. It's okay. It's okay. Yes, yes, yes. So the in between the two great King Grayskulls is it's confusing, and at the same time it's the stories are so magnificent between the two.
Indeed.
Um, and actually, yeah. You had said earlier about the 2008 Masters of the Universe Classics. That's where that figure comes from. So, and again, I missed out on classics, so I don't know a whole lot about the classics line.
Yeah, yes, quite a few did at the time too. You see, it was only really a line aimed at the adult collector, so there wouldn't have been much in the way of store pigs for classics and so forth.
Upon his death, King Grayskull transferred his mystical energies into his power sword, which later formed the basis for He-Man's power. Thus, the transformation cry by the power of Grayskull, um, and by the advisors became the Council of Elders, and
Indeed.
that begins Grayskull's legacy. And then from here, it like literally goes into Revelation. So does that kind of mean like to me? It makes me wonder. Does that kind of mean that if he transferred his mystical powers, his essence, into the original Power Sword, then Revelation's King Grayskull would have actually been the first He-Man um, to wield the actual powers of Grayskull at that point. And it's kind of interesting how that works because in the time of King Grayskull Devon, that means 500 years before King Grayskull in Revelations. Where has that sword been? Um, and just exactly how old is Preternia to that point?
Well, see, using my book of living spells, I had cast uh, the three towers into Eternia there to await the great kings and all the champions who would follow them to live out their great reward, as it were.
So
But
500.
there was a time where we did find the power sword, but me and my hero we kept it hidden there. Uh, of course, that's where He-Man came along.
Right, because according to history, you trained Hero.
Yeah, so my hero, he we found him suffering a great techno infliction there in a great fiery pit. So I healed him up there, and of course using my book of living spells. We we created his star book transformation there to help him become the most powerful sorcerer in the universe, as we know of as Hero. Well, my hero at least.
Yes, which I find Hero's backstory actually kind of uh, the same way because you've got Hero as he's being taught by his father, King Grayskull, with his brother Dayar, and getting into the biography of King Grayskull now for Revelation. We're going to dive deep into that real quick.
Of
So
course,
five,
my hero, he was not called Roe, you see. I called him Grey because we didn't know what his name was. So we
right,
named him
Little
Grey
Gray.
after King Grey Skull, of course.
Absolutely.
And indeed,
Um,
yes, I spent a time mentoring him in the ancient secrets and what have you.
so what I find interesting with this is 500 years before the time of He-Man, King Devon Grayskull was teaching his young sons. So not only not only does Revelations King Grayskull share the name of King Devon, but they have another similarity too. Now, although King Grayskull also sacrificed his line or his life in order to do the things that have happened since his time. I find it interesting of again because King Grayskull's lineage for his children and then his children's children at the same time. Um, and again with King Grayskull Devon from the 2000X series, the Orlax of Primera is not mentioned in how things transgressed with that. So 500 years ago, before the time of He-Man, King Devon Grayskull was teaching his young sons, Dayar and Ro, how to use a sword. When the Snake Men attacked
Mhm.
the Hall of Wisdom, together with their newfound ally, the Orlax of Primera. So at some point in time, the Orlax of Primera was actually an ally to King Grayskull. And what made the Orlax attack his sons? Uh, the Orlax picked up the young Dayar with one of its tentacles, causing the young boy to fall into a deep sleep immediately.
Oh,
Grayskull found himself unable to hurt the creature with his sword. The elders explained to him that it existed in two different dimensions at one time.
oh yes.
And with that, it would need to be, you would have to be able to inflict damage to the Orlax in both dimensions simultaneously.
It's a bit tricky indeed.
So Grayskull had to forge himself a new weapon. Using a special kind of dark ore he obtained from Scareglow in the realm of Subternia, with the help
Oh,
of Trollan Magesmiths, by merging the newly created sword with his own Preternian weapon he created with the sword of power that would be used by him and many champions of Eternia to follow. So the similarities in story, but the extra extraordinary stories that come from both stories. And of course, that comes with pretty much all history because It's kind of like playing the secret game where you whisper in somebody's ear and say one thing, it goes down the line, and it
Oh
turns into
yeah,
something completely different.
your whisper's there.
And it's a wonderful piece of history on both accounts. Um, King Grayskull was finally able to defeat the Orlax. However, Dayar never came out of his deep sleep. Now, this is where King Grayskull's history on both come into play. Vina realized that the Orlax formed a psychic connection too strong for human minds to process,
Oh,
and were unable to communicate with them. So, again, it kind of makes me wonder, why did the Orlax attack in the first place? Um, and why did it choose Dayar, and at the same time, um, it gave birth to Ro, who was able to go from being a warrior to later on being trained by Eldor, by yourself, uh, into being the mage that he became in Revelation. Because as as everybody may or may not know, Hero not only comes from future, but he has to go back into the past in order for all of this to transgress, which is a very interesting story by itself,
yes,
and
indeed.
how that works. Um, let's see. Going further in, let's see. Appearances for, or no, I went ahead of myself. Excuse me. The Council of Elders cast a spell to make their Hall of Wisdom appear as a far more ominous looking castle with
That's
a
right.
helmeted skull as part of its facade. This version became named as Castle Grayskull, named after Devon. So, in which, to me, that still kind of leaves the same questions in my head. Is it after 2000X King Devon, or after Revelation King Devon? Because you're almost talking about a storyline that goes simultaneously together, maybe two different dimensions of Eternia at the same time.
Yes, it sounds that way, sir. Hmm.
So the appearances of King Grayskull, Masters of the Universe Revelations #1, Masters of Universe Revelations #2, both Dark Horse Comics. The Netflix series, The Forge at the Forest of Forever, which, if nobody has, if anybody watching has not watched the Netflix series, um, and if nobody's actually in, indulged to watch the 2000X series, I must say, please go back and watch both. And Oz is saying, and yes, that's very true, Oz. Very two different universes. 2000X is different history from Revelation. Um, so again, I love what I guess what I'd call, I love the twist of fate between both King Grayskulls, and both storylines, and the similarities that they have in both as well. Both having Vina as being their wife, or being Queen Vina in one, and the other one never mentioned as being Queen Vina at all. This is funny.
Oh, the dog.
Carol, I have to say, I have that same problem. I have a pit bull that he's very mild mannered, but when he sleeps, he sounds like he's cutting logs all day.
It's when they start snoring out the other end that you have to be worried.
Yes, 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 yes. I actually kind of find it funny. My dog was on the floor in the living room sleeping earlier today, and mind you, he's only a year old now, but he was sleeping and he started doing this like woof woof in his sleep, and then
Oh
he
yes,
started like running in his sleep. I'm
the
like,
dream time there.
it's like, right, what are you chasing? It was great. I had to
And
poke him
yes,
and
I
wake
see we
him up.
have a highly articulated. He's popped in there. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, sir. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thanks for joining the stream.
I apologize now for the old beeping. I have a new gizmo there, communications gizmo, and it's taken me a bit of while to get it all sorted out there.
Oh no, it's all good. I do that all the time. In fact, I gave like
I'll have to get men at arms onto it.
I gave the kids mine today, so I'm not hearing it. They're playing video games on it.
Well, keeps them busy. There
My buddy's customs. Hello, bud.
he
How
is.
are you? Thank you for
Good
joining the
evening, sir. Good to
stream.
see you
Good
again.
evening and happy St. Patrick's Day. So again, the the similarities to the stories are super. What's the word I'm really looking for? They're intricate. Uh,
Intertwined or muddled up.
yes, yes. Um, which I find really interesting in both because uh, the, even the timelines are similar, and but they're both very different because exactly as Oz said, the they're two different universes, um, and it's just amazing. Let's see here. Uh, as a reward for all the heroic deeds he performed in his lifetime, Grayskull was awarded a place in the Eternian heaven known as Preternia, where he was allowed to spend eternity with the other heroes of Eternia, many of whom carried the Sword of Power after Grayskull and Hero's timeline.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of where I got to go into Hero because Hero, even though he is, as I as I'm thinking more into it, Hero is King Grayskull's son. However, is that the King Grayskull because you got Ro that's little gray, and then you got Hero who is just Ro, and of course he time travels at some point
And
to
then, of course, we have the extra hero, the the before I named him Gray, he didn't know where he came from, and so of course I named him Gray. You see, to give him a name, and then eventually I trained him uh, to become a hero.
yes,
So possibly when he traveled back in time, he I don't know skipped the asteroid or two and knocked himself out, perhaps, and got a bit of amnesia there. And as you know, with time, things get a bit muddled up there. And I suppose that's where I found him in that flaming crater in the ground there. But he had an odd technical infection that I unknowingly spread that infection about. But we soon sorted things out there.
Yes, absolutely. Um, my buddy's customs. Believe me, you're not late. You're actually right on time. This is the third time I've tried my stream tonight. This time it's the charm.
It's a lucky charm. All right.
Indeed.
So going further into this, let's see. Grayskull took part in the wild hunt, as we see in Revelations, and riding the what is that? Bionops, Bi- Bionatops,
Bionatops. Yes, yes.
um, and won first prize by catching up to his prey, the purple panther, and grabbing it in a headlock before allowing it to roam free once more. When a group of mortals, led by Tila, visited Preternia in order to reforge the split halves of the power sword, Grayskull talked to Tila at the campfire and promised to bring her to a portal inside Grayskull Tower that led back to the land of the living. When Adam inquired why Grayskull had never refused him, he simply answered, "It would be unnatural,"
Mm.
which would be very true. However, in the battle at Grayskull, when Skeletor killed Prince Adam, although his mother somehow, I guess you would call it a mother's intuition, um, knew that Adam was actually He-Man. Um,
Yes.
and that's a very strong intuition.
As you recall, she says, when Man at Arms says they have that He-Man has fallen, she cries, "We have lost our son." And yes, that's when people get angry and what have you.
Yes, that's when Tila lost all her composure. That's definitely
Yes.
when King Randor lost his composure and outcast Man at Arms. Tila quit being part of the royal family, um, and outcast her own adopted father at that point. Uh, I, I think the whole Revelations storyline is absolutely amazing. And again, the more I've delved into the 2000X, uh, I really wish that would have actually came to its climax. Um, it so abruptly ended, uh, and I kind of really wish that Mattel would actually go back and finish off that cartoon series.
Yes, yes. Well,
Um,
one thing I had hoped for when we first knew about or learned about Revelation was when they said it was going to take the place after the filmation. I thought, well, maybe a more updated animation look to the original filmation style those characters had. But uh, no, I suppose aside from Man at Arms, he looked fairly similar, but he always does through the different ages and tales. But yes, I hoped for a more a likeness to the Homerian style, but no, I suppose they did their different thing there.
yeah, again, that's what I grew up with was the filmation style. So it's
Indeed.
it's interesting how we go further into that story because now when you go through 2000X into Revelation, that's 500 years before any of the other He-Mans, but that's also 500 years before Prince Adam and Princess Adora. Um, so coming into that, that's like a whole nother. Is that a whole nother? Well, it's definitely another timeline, but is that a whole nother dimension in itself too? Um,
Anything is possible here.
Everything's possible with Masters of the Universe. So before I go into my unboxing of King Grayskull, I want to give a little bit of history because there's not a whole lot known about Vina. Vina was the wife of King Grayskull and presumably the queen of his kingdom. Little is known about her except that she was present during the events leading up to the Horde's banishment. She apparently was a leading figure within the planetary government of Eternia. Um, in her biography, it states, like the woman later known as the sorceress to He Man and his companions, Vina could transform into a falcon as well. It was while in this form that she first overheard Hordak's plans for the conquest of Eternia, and she returned to the home of King Grayskull and his advisors in order to alert them. So this is again in that 2000X. Uh, this again is the 2000X version of the Masters of the Universe story, which is absolutely phenomenal in every way. Let's see here. De- Despite her desire to protect her beloved, Venus started him on a quest that would eventually give him the means to defeat the forces of Eternia's latest threat. Sadly, as expected, it would prove to be King Grayskull's undoing. With the
Mm.
Sword of Power once more in his possession, King Grayskull made his final stand at the gates of his home. After a terrible battle in which he was mortally wounded, the king was able to exile the evil horde to Despondos. As they lay on the barren ground, as he lay on the barren ground dying, Vina rushed to his side. While in her arms, he expired. As she gave her husband a final kiss, his body vanished into a brilliant white glow, and his powers, perhaps his very essence, merged again. Perhaps his essence merged with the mighty power, the sword of power. Vina fashioned an ornate wooden box in which to store her husband's blade in, which she then gave to the Council of Elders, and the Council of Elders vowed to protect it until a hero emerged who could
Indeed.
claim it rightfully. It's unknown what happened to Vina after that day, so she goes missing. Her story just like literally stops. And since King Grayskull is known as the ancestor of Prince Adam, it can only be reasonably assumed that Vina is as well. However, the identities of any children she may have had with the king, with King Grayskull, are unknown. It is also known. It is also unknown what, if any, connection she may have later to the mystic guardians of the castle. It's almost like she was like the immediate sorceress after the death of her husband.
Mm. Maybe she went under a new name, perhaps.
That that's quite possible.
Mm.
And at that point, it's could she have been
The
the
Green
sorcerer?
Goddess, perhaps, maybe.
Possible.
And passing the
Could she
sword
have
and the armor on to the old bulked up Adam there.
But then could Vina have possibly been the sorceress in Preternia, even at that point to unbeknownst to King Grayskull himself?
Yes, as we know, they're full of secrets in our part of the world, or our part of the universe, rather. Because we had He-Man keeping the secret from King Randor and a few many others.
Oh, you know what? My buddy's customs. You've got quite a few great questions here. Um, what happened to Fisto and Clamp Champ? Um, that that we might find out in the second half. What is going to be Masters of the
Yes, because
Universe Revolution?
you saw Skeletor, he crushes their souls, and rather than send them to Preternia there.
Yes,
And I suppose the only one with the power to undo that would have been Gordon, because
yes,
of course she went about wiping out Preternia there herself.
exactly.
Perhaps when she has her change of heart, maybe she, off in the background there that we don't see, she might whisk all that back into place, perhaps, or at least the new sorceress Tila.
Yeah, and see that was a thing like in Revelations. What I kind of wondered too. Like when uh, when Tila had brought everything, or excuse me, was it Tila or was it Evil Lyn? I don't remember. When they brought everybody back from Preternia, brought them back to life. Was Clamp Champ was Fisto part of that because you never see them. However, Orko came back and he was never taken back to Paternia at that point because they made sure he stayed.
Yes, he
And
was about to get sucked back in there. I suppose perhaps they were brought back. We just didn't see it. So who
and
knows? We may see more of them in our revolution there.
yes, and I really can't wait for that to come. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if they've set a date for that yet or not.
Because we have in New Eternia, although it's not a revelation per se, but we have, of course, Ram Man coming out there. So it'd be good to see Fisto and Clam Champ and all those fellows in the
Yes,
second one to flesh those characters out too. Because
absolutely.
yes, you don't see much of them in Revelation, and then they turn into the bad skeleton warriors there after being possessed by Skeletor, as well as half in the kingdom. Indeed.
Very, very true. And see, that was, that's awesome. Is what you're saying, my buddy's customs. Uh, Evil Lyn did grab Orko and made sure that he didn't go back. Uh, and I
Maybe someone grabbed Clamp Champ, and then he uses Clamp to grab Fisto.
exactly that,
Hold
that
on
that
there.
that would be so cool. I really want I really want Fisto back, and I definitely want Clamp Champ back. Uh, Fisto was one of my favorites. If you dive deeper into Fisto, or excuse me, Man at Arms, as I did last night in my stream, uh, it's said that Fisto is actually the mentor of Man at Arms. So it's funny how the circle turns, and how the stories intertwine very intricately. And again, that's that, that's where I think Revolution is definitely going to go. That the rise of Motherboard and
I think many is speaking on how She-Ra and all that are of a different rights to He-Man. So I wonder if they're going to be sorting anything out in regards to that. Because we did see the Horde symbol rather come out from the motherboard there. So perhaps they've worked something out because the Horde and all She-Ra and all that are owned by I think someone else there aside from all the He-Man stuff. Uh,
yes.
supposedly, I think they might have worked. Yes, there's something out there, and we might see a bit of Hordak, perhaps. Maybe I'm not sure if we see She-Ra, but hmm, it will be
So
interesting.
also going into the family lineage of Hero and of course the children of King Grayskull and Queen Vina. Uh, they do have two others that are named Talar and Solaria or Solaria, and then they have Hera, which is the granddaughter of King Grayskull and Queen Vina. So again, you've got all this family lineage going coming together, and then you've got the timelines where they seem to be two different dimensions, but then they meet somewhere, and then they split off again, which I think is absolutely phenomenal as far as the story writing, and it really leaves the story wide open. Um, Let me find my hero.
But no doubt confusing at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. I think with like I did a week long just trying to figure out and trying to tie all the loose ends in so many comics that I've read. Uh, and I've got the Dark Horse comic that is the entire novel, but it's the pre-story to what actually happened in Revelation, which ties into Revelation where it starts, which is a very interesting read. And I really kind of wish they would have brought that to Revelation in the cartoon before they did the revelations that we got. But of course, you can do more in a book than you can on screen. So um, how the stories tie in together and where they come and where they go and just literally how they fall.
I've noticed of late, apparently, when stories have come out, they do have a habit of changing things up or rebooting stuff. But you can still make a story fresh and continue with the flow of events, as it were, instead of having to create a whole different makeup and what have you. There's that side of things to consider too, because it'd be like you have me here now, and then a week from now, all of a sudden, uh, I've become a banana or something. And of course, then that'll be a bit confusing there.
Absolutely.
It's not a steady flow of the events and then what have you. Seeing how the characters develop in the future times and thereabouts, but it's the way they do things there, I suppose. I mean,
So,
it's not all bad, There's some good stories there. But,
oh yes, and
confusing.
again, as you had stated earlier, there's really two heroes. So what I find, I'm going to do the first hero that I actually delved the deepest into because he's got more lineage than the other one that I've got. So, Hero is the name of two fictional characters in Masters of the Universe franchise, both linked to the main character, He Man, and both achieving only a prototype stage until 2009, when the initial version was finally released as a Masters of the Universe classic. So that hero is actually the hero that is um, the warrior, I think, if I understand this right, because Little Gray being uh, Roe, Little Gray, but he was the child of King Devon Grayskull of 2000X, I believe. Um, so, and I believe that truly because they're talking about his skill with sword fighting, whereas if I go into the other, who is Hero from Classics, he is the one that is uh, the mage. Uh, he is the wizard. And what a powerful wizard not only he is and what he becomes. It's again that the two timeline the two timelines, two dimensional gate, because apparently this hero comes back and tells the either the other hero or travels back and talks to King Devon and lets him know, hey, this is what's preempted to happen. So this is what you got. This is what you got, and this is what you need to deal with, and this is how you need to handle it. And I think it's an amazing story on how they did this. Um, and there's no real loophole in it. Uh, let's see here. Give me into page 2 of my history lesson here. Hero was planned to be a new character introduction and the centerpiece to the powers of Grayskull. Spinoff on the Mattel's Masters of the Universe toy line in 1987. So there, there's also that preempted vintage line to him. So he was actually a character they were thinking about bringing to the vintage line to begin with.
And of course, it was all cut off there, sadly, for myself and Hero. But I think the beasties slipped out there. We had Tyrannosaurus and Turbodactyl and Bionatops, as we mentioned slightly before there.
Yes. So that and of course that's where they got the whole line for Paternia and Subternia. That's where you got the whole rendition of Scareglow. Uh, but if I remember correctly, they didn't. Did they call it Subternia back in the vintage, or did it even have a name at that point?
Mm.
Um, let's see. Uh,
But all we know is that the line was starting to struggle there. And
right.
as per Pixel Dan wrote in his book, they thought dinosaurs would bring the kids back in again. So that's what we got with the dinos there and those bionic pieces that attached to them. But it was mostly only said, oh, He-Man could ride this and that and so forth. Or you could pick up maybe King Hiss or something with Pterodactyl with his feet.
Absolutely. In fact, with this, I'm glad I got this one right here in front of me because I actually have the whole lineage of the Masters of the Universe comic book series
Oh,
from from the 2013 comic series and the 17th issue of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Hero is depicted as the lone surviving son of King Grayskull, and noted, this is where it's noted, that Queen Vina, he led the resistance against Lord Adai, I believe that's how you say it, Adai and the Gar after his father's death. Upon recovering the Sword of Power, he and Eldor chose to hide it away until Destiny revealed the
That's it.
rightful heir.
Hmm.
And again, that this is going into before Revelations. It's going in after 2000 and X, because uh, in in some form of the story, Hero gives his life, um, and I forget who it is. Let me see. I gotta find it. Um, Hero sacrificed his life to save. Okay, so it's Hero who actually went back in time, was able to sever the Orlax tentacle to save his brother. However, he still didn't wake from his slumber. When the Orlax attacked again, a visiting hero from the future used his own sword to cut off another one of the beast's tentacles after explaining that the creature was called the Orlax and telling young Ro. So apparently, Hero actually gets to meet Ro, Little Gray, and tells him of the preemptive everything of what's going to transpire. And then he goes back to his own timeline with the severed limb of the Orlax of Primera. So it's it's really a fantastic and phenomenal story. What we have here between if you really want to call it the, the beginning of the royal family, um, and then what we have in Masters of the Universe, the 81, 82 Filmation series. Then you have the new royal family of King Randor and Queen Marlena, and so on and so forth. So, how all these stories intertwine, this has really became it's a history lesson in the making, and it's not over yet. And when
Of
you
course, they
get
did have Queen Marlena's stories in both Filmation and in 2000X there.
yes, absolutely. Duchess of Darkness, good evening. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and thank you for
The
joining the
lady,
stream.
good evening
Absolutely.
in there. Tip your hat there, sir. Yes.
Let's see here. Let's see. I did hear somewhere, I forgot where, that Revolution is going to be about Eternia and them trying to restore it.
So maybe they're still bringing back all these fellows and ladies and children that were lost there, perhaps.
Yeah. So again, Revelation closed down the story with such an open ending, which is tremendous on how they're going to be able to go back to
Mm.
Revelation and go forward with Revolution. And I really love stories like that because
So
it's
what becomes of old Skeletor there?
restoring Preternia.
All right. All right. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
and again, that's just going to be one of those things where the storyline and the lineage of what we already have and where we go to the future and that and of course it's going to draw in new younger audiences as well as the older audiences that remember, hey, this is my Prince Adam, this is my He-Man, this is my Sorceress, and again, I, I've actually started watching more of the CGI He-Man and its relevance. Uh, it is an important part to the Masters of the Universe story. Um, because I'll admit I didn't like it at first. I thought um, it definitely wasn't geared towards the older generation. It was let's draw younger audiences into Masters of the Universe, and I was kind of disappointed. But then I'm starting to look at it more and more, and as I watch it, it's right there. So it's in your face, and the story is so interesting and provocative at the same time. Did you freeze on me there, Eldor?
Am I still there, sir?
You are still here.
Oh, but yes, I heard the airwaves bleeping there a bit when you were speaking.
Yeah, I heard that too. That's why I asked if you're still there.
Oh, good.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting ready to do the unboxing of quite possibly one of my favorite. Well, not quite possibly. This is one of my favorite characters from the Revelation series. This is King Grayskull, Revelation, Masterverse, and of course, that artwork that Mattel does. Their artists are just absolutely top notch.
But yes,
And go,
quickly going back to the power sword there. It was Kekla, there, our leader. He used a powerful meteor to create the swords of power and protection. And so, yes, and that paved the way for the champions to use the power sword there.
yes, absolutely. Um, again, the storyline that they used for all these characters and how they intertwine with themselves is just so amazing. Um, with what we have coming now with Revolution, um,
Hmm.
and whatever follows Revolution, and whatever follows with the CGI uh, story of He-Man. Um, they all deserve. They all really deserve the credit that they're doing of what they do, because the stories themselves, as different as they are, um, like to me personally, because Orko is literally my favorite Masters of the Universe character.
Well,
My only thing with the CGI version of the new He-Man is I don't
on the
like the
robot
new
logo.
that new Orko they got. I can't get behind it.
Apparently, I don't know if it has his consciousness or something uploaded into there or whatever it was. But I think in one episode they did go back and see the real Orko there.
Right?
And,
Yeah, I thought again. It's not so much the change of the story, I guess, and of course with the timelines of course, you got to have some point in which a character either has to die off or not be the same. It has to progress, just like everything in life. It must progress. So, again, to me, I'm going to use my favorite famous words. It's not my Orko, but but it definitely has what's the word I want to that I'm looking for? It has its proper place.
It has its own charm, there, sir.
I see he has a bit of a red hat on and what have you, I suppose. It feels like another serial I've been watching on your planet Earth there. The Picard, Star Trek Picard there. And he died, you see. And they gave him a bit of a synthetic body, like his Commander Data there, apparently. I have a bit to catch up on that front. But yes, now, old Picard's walking about as a tin man there, you might say.
Yes,
A roboto there.
I can already say just just from unboxing this particular
What is
this King. I can honestly say just from unboxing this particular King Grayskull, I think my true favorite thing about this King Grayskull is his robes, his soft goods.
Oh, yes, the fluffy shoulders there. Yes.
Not it's not necessarily just the shoulders. I really do like that, and I love the furriness on it. However, what I really this is really my first uh, figure that I've had the wired cape into, and I really do. I understand why people love the wired capes because
Yes, yes.
you could you could do so much not only in posing, but you could just do so much and get an authentic look.
See, I think they included wires in there with the the Darkling figure, which is still hasn't quite sold out yet.
Yes, and that that to me is actually somewhat surprising that that figure has not sold out yet because again, I think my only problem with Darklyn was the length of her legs and her her feet. She's got such Goliath feet on that figure.
She might need a bit of help to stand there because I know I have trouble standing up my cat crap as it is. She keeps falling over there.
Uh,
They're
I
like your
want.
dinosaur toys there. I know that like the T Rexes they make a bigger feet on them to keep them standing up. I
I wonder
don't know.
is that quite so? Like the first rendition of Skeletor that came to Masterverse, that came with the shaping staff, with the way
Yes.
his feet are, because of the, the such high solid arch that he has on his. He's very hard to stand unless you have a stand.
Yes, I
Uh,
noticed that on my new Eternia Skeletor too. He's more rounded, the under the feet there. Mm.
they don't make them easy to get out of the package, do they?
No, no, they do not, sir. It begs the question why they even bother putting the ties in when the clamshell grabs them in there. Well enough, they a bit of tape, mind you, on the weapon and what have you. Yes, I find it a bit of a struggle getting all that out of the second
Oh,
clamshell. Uh,
all right. I think I've acquired that. But the first thing I want to show off Now, this is actually the head that I am going to use. I have ordered another clamp champ just for, specifically to make my own King Grayskull for Origins. This head, this facial, and how they did this, that sculpt is absolutely amazing. I mean, down to the hair.
Yes, a lovely, lovely sculpt in the hair locks there. Hmm. And
That is
we
absolutely
have
amazing.
the dynamic duel in there, sir. Rhea Black and Nolan. Good evening there.
Yes. Hello, Nolan. Hello. How are you,
Oh,
sir?
good evening there.
Ray
Thank
Black.
you for
How are
coming
you?
there.
So yeah. Again, so I'm going to use a clamp champ, which I ordered. Um, I was actually going to use my junkyard dog that I've got for my Masters of the WWE.
Oh, yes, the
Unfor-
WWE one. Hmm.
Unfortunately, when you put his head, his skin texture as far as his color does not match the so
Yes.
it looks very odd.
Oh,
Um,
that's a gag, isn't it?
yes.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I had already previously did this with my clamp champ that I have already,
Oh,
and the skin tones for both characters match like impeccably.
see, I
Um,
had it on my mind there the other night. I pre-ordered the two heads off Rum and Toy there, and of course, well, the spare one is to do a bit of a faker, a movie faker custom with. And I've been thinking about the aesthetics of that world that the movie created as to how I can make my robot pieces on that thing. But I was considering messaging Raman there to see if it might be possible for him to have the second head painted in a blue color with the orange hair and I don't know, orange eyebrows, maybe red eyes, or I could just dot the eyes red myself. But I think that might go into the realm of being bit too expensive to accomplish. So it'd probably just be easier if I went around painting everything myself. But considering asking, see if it's worth a try or not. I suppose
yeah,
when you have a production line there, it's all set up. You got the people in their specific colours that they do everything in, and if you add a new colour in there, it might muck up the whole production line there, as you say it. So yes.
absolutely. And they do not make
There's no harm in asking, I suppose. You just have to take whatever the outcome is.
absolutely never harm in asking. Um, so going further into, I finally got him out. He's got he's got so many little plastic binders on him that
How are your hands looking there? Give a bit of a stretch after all that work, getting the figure out there.
oh no, I didn't have to do all that.
Well,
I
you're
have
still you're still young and spry there, so I think. Yes, I with my old arthritis, pulling the figures out of me, I had to give myself a bit of a stretch or two. Yes.
yes. Um, yeah, I definitely have to stretch all the time because like as a kid I've always been I'm a knuckle popper, so it's
Oh, you did
yeah.
that, drive the teacher mad there.
Drove my parents crazy too.
Yes. Oh,
But I love his shield. That shield is phenomenal. I love that flat gray that they have on there, and then you got that copper to well, what is that? That's copper to like I want to call that a crimson bronze, which is really nice. And compared to what they did, of course, with Origins and even the vintage line, I love how they make the holders in the back. They just slide over them forearms. It's
See, that's
absolutely
what I
phenomenal.
liked about those shields. The shields that I get in the Mythic Legions figures, they're just like a bit of a handle that comes out and then down, and then you just gotta hold it like that. But it does rotate on the shield, of course. Everything being modular, you can pull that piece out, but it's a bit of wriggly to try and get the shield looking right in the hands, and you also have to swivel the hand about in conjunction with all that to get the shield sitting right. Hmm.
Absolutely. And besides the figure, this is probably my most favorite part of this figure
Oh, there's the two
is the
swords.
swords. Those two swords are fantastic.
I
Okay.
believe you get them in with Roboto too, but in their hot form when he's reforging the power sword there.
Yes.
It's a shame I haven't got my figure yet. I should have got him last month, but there's been a bit of a delay there. Oh yes.
Look at that art, that artist work that they did for these. Those hilts. Not to mention the intricate work that they did on the blades.
Just be careful with any paint on the handles. I've noticed that the paintwork on my two bad axe there started to flake off there, trying to get it into the hands. So you might look at heating the hands up if they're too stiff on you there before putting the weapons in.
Yes,
Oh, lovely,
absolutely.
lovely detail work on the shield there. Bit of a flying saucer.
Yes. I actually find it kind of funny because I tend to collect some of the Titan superheroes
Oh yes.
from Marvel, and to see the Captain America shield against this, of course, with the Titan heroes because they're the 12-inch figures. Of course, they're a little bit bigger,
Oh yes.
but if this was actually a 12-inch figure in the Captain America size shield that they did with this, that would be exquisite, and it would work so well.
Although they're not Titan figures in that line, we are getting. I don't know if everybody's going to get them, but those larger Masters of the Universe figures they had, what Man at Arms and He Man and Skeletor, I think Merman or something. But I think
Yes,
that was rolling out overseas somewhere there.
I believe that was
Was it Malaysia or something?
yes, yes, Malaysia. I I actually kind of hope that they bring those to the states as well as everywhere else because I think those would be some really cool figures, even if you left them in box for what they are. Because again,
Yes, see, as I said before about the handle, paint on the handle, my buddy's customs has just said the same thing about putting the weapons in the hands. So something to be
yes.
careful of, indeed. Mm.
So let's see. Okay, so there's like the Velcro on the back of.
Apparently, there's a bit of a hole that you can place his ponytail down the back of there, so it's not. I think it helps move his head a bit better, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
I did see someone else on a channel pointing that out. Might have been one of Oz's channels or something. I can't quite recall.
Yes.
So it might be a bit
So
of a head pop there. Oh,
I
but,
am gonna have to do a little bit of retouch on this face. I'm gonna
oh,
largen my screen because when they did his teeth,
I see.
And of course, right up there on top of the eyebrow here.
Oh, the brush got a bit loose there.
Yes. So
Oh
I'm going to have
dear.
to do a little bit of a touch up there.
Oh,
But other than that, that that is fantastic for what they did with that. And when you put the both together,
oh, so you got two heads in there. Very good.
yes.
Oh,
And of course, the hair is exactly the same. Oops.
indeed.
But I love this the the
Oh, a bit of a hair clip, maybe.
yeah. I, I'm gonna. I was about to say hair tie, but it's not a hair tie.
Yes, I remember when you put the head on. Apparently, you poke that ponytail in behind. I don't know if it's the cape or something or that top of your area, but
Yes.
although it's your figure, sir, you can display him how you choose. Just as old Go would say,
Oh, I
it's your
see.
figure. Display it how you like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's like that little. There's like a little bit of a gap right in the center where you can do that. Which I don't really intend to not display him like that. Um, but I really do like what they do with this with the furry shoulder parts on here. And if you go closer, I'll I'll bring myself back up to a wider screen. If you go closer and I'll block that light, I love that chest harness.
Indeed.
That's absolutely fantastic with the red and the gold and the matte gray that they did with the chest harness. It really stands out. And of course, you got that chest bobble, which I really love about this because it just gives you so much more posability with them.
Hmm.
And I love his bracers. Um, not not every Masterverse figure the bracers come off on. Um, Now, like on my Masters of the Universe He-Man, I believe I want to say that's Wave One, Skeletor, He-Man. Um, well, with the He-Man, he's got one bracer similar to this,
Oh
and then
yes.
he's got that long bracer on his right arm.
The more man brace. Yes. Yes. On the other side.
So what I did with that was I turned around, I took the bracer my uh, off of my faker,
Oh yes.
and I put it on his other arm to have two matching bracers of the same. And then I took the other bracer that's similar to this and put it on faker so that I'd have a complete set on each one. And it worked out very, very well.
See, with me doing my one dar custom soon, I was trying to think of did any figures come with the black wrist brace in there, but nothing so far. So it looks like I'm going to do a bit of painting on those pieces. But when I often do my Masterverse customs, I try to swap off other parts to avoid painting as much as possible.
Hello, Brick. How are you doing, sir? Thanks for
It's a
joining the
dream.
stream.
There's a big something there, sir. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yes, yes. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Good to see you, sir.
So, again, with what I really love about this line, that it's not necessarily just the Masterverse line. The Origins line has brought so many figures right now that we haven't had. Um, Point in case being Frogmonger, he went from sticker to being a figure. Who
And
knew?
then Moti, the moat monster, of course. he began as a sculpture in the Eternity playset, and now he's an action figure too. And of course the
Yes.
spacesuit was cardboard there, but they made that a figure in the Mysteries of Grayskull set. But yes, as Brick something was has just said there, I mentioned before the wee hole where you can tuck the so not the way you had it there, but you can tuck the ponytail down the back. I think somewhere in the cape, it helps you to turn the head around.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I saw that. It might have been one of the Brick Something's episodes where I saw that. You mentioned that maybe.
Yeah, that hole that he's mentioning is
Oh,
right
there it
here.
is. Hmm.
It comes right down that back. All you do is lift that fur, and he will go right. Let's see. Put him in. Put him in. Put him in. Put him
Fiddly. Yes.
in. And there you go.
Hmm. So I wonder, does that help the head move a bit easier for you, say?
It's really, it does, but it's still kind of the same.
Sort of. Oh yes.
He's still there though, but I definitely like it. I think I
Breaking up the back there.
yes,
I suppose it'd be normal, you have a ponytail in the back there, it's gonna hang over top of whatever you are wearing, I guess.
yes. Um, yeah, I definitely see what the difference is when it comes
All right.
to the head movement because like you can see here when you're moving it, it don't want to move so much around that fur.
Yes, the fur will add a bit of thickness there, I suppose.
Yes.
Oh, but the correct fashion, he said. Oh yes.
Very much so.
What's that song there? He's into his fashion or something? Is it one of
Oh,
the Beatles?
yeah.
One of the Beatles there.
Less about helping the head turn and more about King Grayskull coming correct. Fashion forward, baby. Absolutely.
Oh, behave.
So when I look at this cape, I love it. This the wired cape in
Yes.
here. I really wish they did this with
There's a bit of Batman
more.
going on there. Nice design on the
Right.
cape at the bottom.
I mean, look at that. That wingspan by itself on the cape.
Oh, cutting that would have been no easy task, I tell you.
No, not at all. But that is so phenomenal for what this cape is, what this figure is.
Yes, that is interesting. They bring something. You don't get the wires in most of these capes. Hmm.
No, you
They're
don't.
not, he's not being God Skeletor there, the Skelly God or whatever his name is. There are no wires in him, or Ketra,
Um,
or
there's no
Sheila.
wire. Does the sorceress have wires in her cowl
No,
and
no,
cape?
she's looped in there the arms, so it all sort of you stretch her arms out and the cape's all looped around.
Okay, so it's around her wrists.
We get a bit of a dance on there. Why not? St.
Absolutely.
Paddy's Day there. Yes.
Brick something. I'm pretty sure they did a die cut for the fabric pieces. Yeah, I'd say that'd probably be the
Oh,
easiest way to
let's stop
cut
in
it.
the scene there. Oh, yes. So it might be shaped in a certain way like this and go, stop, down the fabric there.
Yeah, I can't see a couple hundred people or a couple thousand people
No, no.
cutting a cape like this. There's
you,
definitely going to be
you
flaws.
go a bit insane there, like they did with Lord of the Rings when they had to make all the chainmail. They had the story goes about three fellows or a lady in a room. They were all locked away, putting the chainmail together, and they got a bit silly there.
But Another thing that I really love about this figure is this belt. Again,
And the different color loincloth too is rather striking.
yeah, that belt is done fantastically. And again, it's not like how Origins is. It's definitely not like how the Vintage is. I like that they took the time to make the belt have all the little oh what is
Rivets
that,
or bumps or
rivets. Yeah,
yeah.
I absolutely love that they did that. Um, and again, of course, you've got the full leg articulation where you can swivel at the thigh, the double joint at the knee, and they can bring it all the way back up to the center of his back. Um, when I did my Man at Arms video last night, what I really loved about that figure was because again, that wasn't a figure, and I've said it so many times. I didn't think I was going to like the figure as much as I did because the Man at Arms figure, to me, it didn't look right. I'm used to seeing it in the 5.5 buck,
Yes.
where it's beefier and. But when I took a look at it in hand last night, I was just like, "Oh wow, this figure is phenomenal." And then the colors that they use, the color schemes on painting them.
Although
Uh,
you do note some people took exception to the rather lankier body types. Uh, so that I suppose uh, initially sort of turned a few people off them, but I still bought a few of them. Man at Arms being my first figure there. But it makes you wonder what you look like when using the 40th He-Man. Bucket's more sort of buffed out in the chest and the neck's a bit lower too, I found.
oh wow. And that's actually great to know because I just actually ordered one off of BBTS,
On
the
the
40th
40th there.
anniversary.
All right.
Yes, so I can't wait. I can't wait for him to come. Um, right now, I've got. Let's see. I had 16 figures in my pile of loot, and I've got seven left uh, to ship out. So I got all my Masterverse figures sent out first, and I'm letting
Right.
all my other ones sit for a minute.
Yes, my pile of holding has never looked so full at the moment. I did get Sorceress there from Master S. I thought I'd lock her down just in case, you know. We do have a fellow
Absolutely.
getting Master S over here, but we're never quite sure what he's going to be getting in at any one time, you see. But he's usually a bit behind when he gets his stock in, that's for sure.
Yeah, Brick, I definitely agree. Mattel did a super great job with matching the cape's fur and his loincloth.
Indeed. Hmm.
That that is absolutely phenomenal in how they did that.
Oh, Adam, sir.
Oh, so
Adam,
glad you could
hello,
join
how
us,
are
Eddie.
you?
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Happy St. Patty's Day and thanks for joining the stream, sir.
Yes.
I hope you got a nice brew there.
And again, what I really like too about this, the
Oh,
attention to
boots. Yes.
the attention to detail on the boots and the straps. Like I'm not sure if that. Yeah, whoever painted this one had some oopsies all over the place,
Oh,
but
dear.
that's okay. I can. They're small oopsies, and I can fix them.
They've been rushing all their figures out, you see, trying to get them out in time.
Yes, but King Grayskull is an absolute phenomenal.
Yes. I hope to get him, but being an exclusive over there. it's hard to get a hold of them. Yes, so all these exclusive figures and what have you. But I see the fellow I mentioned beforehand. He's got in the new Sunman figure there from Master S. So I'm hoping to pick that one up there.
Yes.
I'm hoping to do a bit of a custom also. I might get two of them if he has spare stock to do my custom Orbiter character. He's sort of a space ram man, if you will. He has a big sort of cone that he wears on his head, and has jet blasters in place of his hands, and of course has two neutron stars encrusted in his eyes. So he has that sort of a starry eye look like a few had done with their Moon Man customs.
Yes.
So,
And there he is holding the shield and one of the swords.
indeed.
Pull the shield off him.
Oh, he's to the pose.
Yes. But this is another thing I wanted to show. The attention to detail on the hilt of the
On the pummel there, yes.
yes. Mattel did such a good job with that. Um, if you really look at the scene where the two swords are floating in the air before they're forged together,
Mm.
before Roboto actually heats them up to that point, you can see the detail in the cartoon that they did, and it matches perfectly with the
Indeed.
detail on that.
So is it just the blade painted there, sir, or is do you reckon the whole sword is got paint all over it?
The gold one is painted, and the purple one is also painted. And it's kind of the way they molded it together. It's all one solid piece of plastic, but they definitely painted the purple on, and I really think that the entire thing is probably the same color as the blade.
Yes, and that was my concerns before, and indeed my buddy's customs there about the paint chipping because these hands can be quite stiff, and yes,
Yes.
putting a bit of heat in there to pry the hands open a bit more easy, then set in your accessories. But yes, as I found out on the Exo bad, yes, it was kind of hard to get it into his hand, and then I found the paint had started to flake away in little pieces.
Yeah. That would probably be my. I think that would probably be my only complaint as far as some of these figures, because I really don't like putting heat on any of the figures that I have. Like I'll do like a cup of hot water or something like that, and I'm only going to use probably about 80 degrees.
Yes, you don't have to get too hot depending on what you're doing. But if you're customizing, indeed, some parts you need to be a bit more hotter to stay hot for long, like, say, removing the loincloth and the belts off. They tend to cool
Right.
a bit faster and it's harder to get them off. But if you pop the legs off first, it's indeed easier to, with a pair of pliers, but not the pliers with the teeth in them, mind you. The pliers with the more thinner grab because the teeth will make marks in your loincloths and belt and such. But I find the pliers more easier to remove the loincloth in particular.
And Brick something saying his only criticism would be that uh, having a way to fit the shield on the
Yeah.
back. And you know, I'm only going to do this once.
Oh, in for a surprise now.
But if I leave that
Oh, Sir
ponytail
Clifton there.
out,
Oh, good to see you there, Sonny Jim. Happy St. Patty's Day.
hello, Sir Clifton. How are you, sir? Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope all is well, sir.
Indeed. Looking a bit disheveled there. Hang on a sec.
So if I use the ponytail in the back before I have it in the hole, it will hold and it will stay.
Oh, what a dag indeed. So you've looped the shield through the ponytail, and then stuck the ponytail. Ah, I see.
Right
But
through those.
I suppose brick means more of that special attachment there. But though mind you, I think you can do it on the Origins figures if the harness does have a bit of a loop on the back. I think what you do is you get the power sword and you start to sheath it through one of those arm loops there, and then you sheath it through the back loop and then through the other loop in the shield. I think that's how you get the shield holding on to some of the harnesses there.
Absolutely.
It's a bit of work though.
And so again, now I have unboxed him previously, so he's going to be easier to get out.
Yes, I see that the guy I buy from has him in stock currently. I've been thinking on this one.
Hero is the man.
Indeed, we saw Brick something and Oz there unbox their heroes, and I popped on to unbox my 2 bag there. So we have a bit of a triple bag.
And again, that exquisite artwork.
Yes.
Now, right now, this is the only character that I have not ordered yet because I don't know if I really want them. And that's the Battle Armor He-Man.
Yeah, yes.
We're
due for a Battle Armor Skeletor, I think, though.
Well,
I wonder if they'll do all that, you know?
Right. If they did Battle Armor He-Man, they really do need to do the Battle Armor Skeletor.
And then your Dragon Blast, I believe, is yet to come out in Origins, and all the flying fists and so forth.
Yes.
Well,
And
they're giving us He-Man, so they might as well.
That phenomenal artwork. I really love that amazing artwork.
Yes,
that sets this box art apart. In fact, this is probably my favorite thus far of the box art, just from the colors, the renditions that they have on here, and the fact that they've got Eternia in the background here.
Oh, right. It was the New Adventures He-Man. I got a bit muddled there.
Yes.
Mickey wrote the unbox.
So there is the. Where is it? Right there by his arm. Got the cat face of Eternia.
Ah, yes. You have the Viper Tower there on the other side.
Yes. And unfortunately, the price is too steep. I'm good. I also don't have the room for it. Eternia is not for me.
Although I do have a friend that bought 2, and he's thinking about he might let me pay the other one, buy the other one off, and then he gets set on a bit of a payment plan. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yes.
What's Brick saying there about his other criticism? Oh yes, I corrected myself on that. I got a bit confused there. Just the one above that, there, sir.
So again, I think my only downfall on this particular character is that the cape. You know how like you got some of those old Halloween, the newer but older Halloween masks in which you can't see in but you can see out.
You can see through, yes.
That's what these capes are. It's the same exact material.
Like what I'm wearing there, sir. So in the proper light, though, you can see through it. But be careful what you're wearing under there.
Correct.
So
Now the
yes,
thing that
Brick was saying, my other crit actually is that I'm not personally into the face. I got a custom head by Hordak MX, so I don't put the hair through the shield because my head is made of resin that can snap. Oh yes, indeed. The resin on its own is very brittle unless it has something like a fiberglass or whatever to reinforce it with. Yes, you have to be particularly careful there because they're not done in the PVC type plastic that a lot of these toy companies use. Of course,
yes.
it's a bit more of a specialized material to mold with there. Hmm.
Now what really drew me to this character, not only seeing Hero in Revelations and in the comics, is the color coordination that they used in creating this character.
Hmm.
How they play the gold, blue, and the red off of each other and the silver. That's what drew me to this character, besides the fact, which I'm going to go into first, because this staff is big, it's phenomenal.
And I bet it stays closed when you want it to. I understand the classic star had a habit of just springing open on you. You can't really get trouble closing up the function there.
Yeah, you actually have to put a little bit of pressure on it to make sure it comes open.
Hmm.
And I I can respect that because I don't I can't stand floppy. That drives me insane.
Hmm.
But how that opens up in that jewel on the inside.
Yes, bit of a surprise there. Bit of a chubba chop there.
Yes.
Don't eat that one. No.
No.
Hmm.
But this staff is absolutely amazing.
So it doesn't have any activation function there. You just had to pull the wee sections off by finger, as it
No.
were.
Yep. You got to pull it by finger, and when you close it up, you might be able to hear it on the mic. It's got to click, otherwise it will be floppy.
Click goes the seatbelt. Yes.
And I really do love it. This this particular staff is again another thing that drew me to him because uh, seeing him in hand with it, and of course he's got them stiff fingers too, so you gotta.
Yes. See, I almost wondered if I should have waited in doing my Koda custom to get the armor off Hero there to do the modifications because I had to use the shoulder pieces off the Origins Prince Adam to give him that shoulder fin look to Koda's armor. But I ended up having to use Pisto's armor there. But I believe Koda had more of the pecs as well molded into the breastplate there.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I think that's another thing that really drew me to the Masterverse is again I love the articulation. 30 points of articulation for each one of these figures that they do. Origins is what is Origins? Origins is like 14, 15 points. So
Oh,
it's like half half the articulation that these have. But
Because
I understand.
you got your ankle rocker articulation, you have your boot cut, you have the knees, and the crotch there. Then you have the waist swivel and arms are swivel at the shoulders, and then the elbows and the hands. The hands are on another swivel again, and then the head there. Oh, indeed.
Absolutely. And of course,
I'm not. They don't have as much because there's no bicep swivel. There is on the Masterverse figures at the top, just where they connect to the shoulders there.
right. Yeah, so you got that bicep, the shoulder, the
And
elbow.
also you had the upper thigh cut too in the
Correct.
Masterverse.
Right.
Hmm.
Make him look like he twisted his leg over.
The boxes shake there. You've been knocked out.
Right.
Your knees start to shake, and then it all falls over.
I really like these boots they put on them. Um, they're almost well, they're very knightish for one, but they're almost robotic looking.
Oh, yes. And
And I
the feet have a nice looking sculpt on them too.
yes, absolutely. And even the way that I have stood him up. I took him out of the package once to show, and no problem standing on his own. Uh, the articulation in the feet with with those swivels stands very very nicely. And then if you take a look right above the H on his chest, he's got that sapphire, and then on his helm on the forehead he's got the ruby.
Oh yes, sporting a few jewels there.
Yes,
A bit of bling, you might say.
absolutely.
Hmm. Oh, indeed, big something. Indeed.
I don't think I've seen your Coldar, Eldor.
Oh, it's probably one of the very first, amongst the very first videos I did. I think it was the one that Big Something saw, and then I met him.
Okay, I'll have to go back
I,
and
I,
watch it.
I had to do more videos like that. I've been a bit slack. But no, I got something in the works there. It's taking a bit longer to accumulate and edit all that together and so forth.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yeah, that brick something. You're very right. I didn't do what I normally do with that. I should have, but I didn't. But I'm doing it now, sir.
Oh?
That head sculpt.
Yes, you see, I spied that the other day looking at this fellow's website that I usually buy from, and I thought to myself, would he make for a good substitute of the Dolph Lundgren head if you whittled off the crown and then replaced the hairdo off the movie coming from the movie figure there and plonk that on if you say miss out on the rum and toy options or.
Absolutely, yeah, because he's definitely got that jawline.
Hmm.
Uh,
And then the
and
closeness to the
and
lips to the nose, and because
yes,
yes, Dolph's jawline at the back did sort of stick out a little.
yes, it was just a little. It wasn't too bad, but uh, no pun intended.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, like I sit here and I look at I was looking at it the other day, especially on BBTS, and I grabbed the snapshot and I did a real close up, like a real close up of that figure sculpt on the head
I see.
of the movie version of the He-Man that they did next to the. I'm so horrible with names. Uh, the 2000, 2007, 2008 movie that Frank.
Frank Langella there,
Yes, thank
the
you.
skeletal.
Yes, because that Skeletor is spot on.
The man that saved the movie, in other words. Indeed.
It it very much was. But like this would work very very easily. Um, I think for an initial head sculpt for the.
So is the hair a part of the crown, or is the crown a part of the hair? Is there any divider that you can make out
Um,
how they've assembled that?
the hair is not. The back of the hair is, but like there is a divide here at the top of the hair on the
All right.
band. I'm not necessarily sure. I can't exactly pinpoint it to see if that
Well,
headband.
what about the inside of the head socket there? Can you make out any difference with the hair there? So it does look like I don't know, because the hair is usually a separate piece, you see, glued onto the heads there, or however they attach it. Hmm.
Oh yeah, it is actually. So yeah, I think all that comes off.
So I was thinking maybe if the crown was attached to part of the hair there, it might. But
Yeah, it just might. Um,
we'll have to see when I come to that bridge there. Yes.
I'll
Well,
be
thank you for
watching
that,
that.
sir. Thank you indeed.
Yes, yes, yes. So
We
yes,
did pick something. The head is looking rather good on this one.
the you know, being very truthful, Adam has said it so many times. Um, the further they go into the line on Masterverse, the better
Indeed.
they become.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, I I'm really kind of stoked for uh, as I got the Shadow Weaver coming, and of course I got the Sorceress coming, um, and I've got Manny Faces
Many
coming.
faces? Many faces,
I
yes.
d- I did
I
get Manny
haven't got him
Faces.
yet.
the The second he went up on BBTS pre-order,
You were in
um,
there, sir.
yes. So
He
like,
comes
no,
with a good amount too, I feel. All his faces there and the wee carry case he has.
yes. He comes with a total of 6 faces. So and 3 of them are in that backpack type thing that you can place on his back, and then of course you've got um, the faces are like I think they're if I remember correctly, I think they're magnetic that they go to the on the face thing that turns on the spindle there.
Oh no,
Um,
I think they plug in, sir. There's a
do they
wee
plug in?
yes, there's a wee skull like port on the mechanism there where you plug the each face into, but when you pull away, it looks like a little skull.
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah, because like one of the faces that are actually in the pack, it kind of reminds me of the mask from V for Vendetta,
Oh yes, that fellow.
which yes. So I'm looking forward to that because that's definitely going to be one of the faces that I'm going to portray in my Manny faces. Um, and
Of
then
course,
like
the Four Horsemen have just released a tribute to Many Faces in their Cosmic Legions line, and I think a new head sculpt in there for that figure. But yes,
yes,
I was hopeful they might bring a few Masters tributes out in Cosmic, and then we also had them announce the Whiplash tribute. They're, of course, using some of the old Mythic Legions parts on that one.
Yes.
So, exciting. Some people were. One person said when I posted up my pre-orders and what I was intending to do with them, one was going to be a buzz-off there for one of the Spexian races, and a fellow commenter said you never know, they might announce a buzz-off because they still had one more, you see, but no, it turned out to be the Whiplash custom there.
Well, see, like that's what was actually kind of funny with the Origins line. Buzz Off was one of those ones that was kind of a peg warmer. So
Yes, I've seen that.
I turned around. I bought 6 of them.
Oh, you have the whole army there, sir. Yes.
Yes, but each one I want to do a different type custom to.
Oh, yes.
I want to do like different colors of the of bees. So like Buzz Off would be like their leader. And then I want to do like one that's going to look like probably a red wasp or something similar to that to give like other
Oh, yes.
bee creatures
Uh,
a
I
chance
see
to
he's
be in.
coming out in New Eternia also, Buzz Off there. So you have more to look forward to in that, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I can't complain about anything on this figure. This figure is absolutely phenomenal. The only thing I want to do a different cape.
Oh, yeah.
Like it, I I think particularly if let me stop saying they, if Mattel had actually took the time, and granted again it might be cost effectiveness why they did
Yes,
this with
cheaper
these
fabric.
capes,
Yeah.
cheaper fabrics, but if they would have gave every single character that has a cape similar, not necessarily like this, but even similar to the material that they used for Andrea.
Oh, yeah. I don't have the figure in hand, of course.
And Andrea's cape and cowl that goes over, uh,
Oh,
if you want to say hoodie,
yes,
for
it creates a bit of a hood too, I believe.
yes. So to me, and because I bought 2 of Andrea, just so that I could, and Adam gave me from Radical Toys, he gave me the idea so that I could get the second mask and the second cape and cowl for my Tila figure,
Oh,
and
boy.
put that mask on both because in Revelations they both had that mask,
Yes, indeed, they did.
and they both also at some points had the cape and cowl. And so at that point I was like, you know what? You just gave me an idea. Thanks for helping me spend a little bit more money on another figure.
Oh, yes, they're sneaky like that.
Yes, yes, yes. Uh, and then of course what I'm really really waiting on now is my headless horseman that BBTS had for pre-order. The second one with the green
Yeah.
flame, and that's I forget when that's due. I think they said. Well, I've got a long while to wait. I've done my pre-order. I hit my $14 down payment that's non-refundable,
Yes,
and 139.99 left to pay. but that's going to be my first Four Horsemen's figure that I've got, and I can't wait. Um,
yes, that's been my ideology in there about buying all these extra figures for parts and pieces to do customs with. I mean, yes, sure, you could say Oh, I've already got that figure. I've got that one too. But you can pick a few more off the shelf because, especially with Origins, you have the modularity there, so you can
Yes.
easily swap the pieces out to make your own characters, and it takes the product off the shelves there in an orderly fashion. And you can also, as I said before, in the private group there, you can treat a youngster there with a bit of a motu, like I did for my niece there today. I missed her
Yes.
birthday. I missed one of her birthdays, you see. So I decided to give her the Ram and Lamb from the new CGI show. A bit of a belated birthday gift there. But yes, getting the Motu into the younger generation's hands and whatever. Or you might. We've got a fellow over here, an attorney. He buys up all the Matchbox cars, and he gets people to donate them, and he takes them all into the woman's refuge there for the children to have. And we have another organisation called Hope Tree, I think it's called, and they collect donations of presents for all the children that have fathers in prison there. And so all the children get
Yes.
a present from their fathers when they go to visit them and things like that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, uh, there there's so much there's so many things as a community that we need to do, and we should do more than just one day or whatever. Um, Again, with my church, I'm involved every Friday unless I'm at work with a free food giveaway to help the community, to people that can't go out and afford to help the elderly, to make sure that they
Yeah.
are at least getting some food, because our food prices are so fantastically
Oh, tell me about it.
overpriced.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Um,
Because
so
see, a lot of people talk about the peg warmers and the shower warmers there. It's as I said before, it's not always due to a waning interest in the figure. It's the price tags you see, and especially with the COVID putting everything off skew, and people looking at putting more food on the table than toys on the shelves, as it were. And
absolutely.
yes, people have had to reconsider their priorities. So there's a number of reasons why action figures are shelf warm, and
Yes.
definitely affordability can be a huge stumbling block to many.
Oh, absolutely. It's I I've come to realize since COVID, um, you know, especially where I work, um, people got accustomed during COVID of making so much money off of governmental checks and whatnot, whatever. I wouldn't want to go back to work either. but
So,
but unfortunately, where I worked at the time, I was an essential worker, so I didn't have that. I couldn't do that, nor would I want to do that. But at the end of the day, if I did do that, I could have. Um, but why? Uh, and then, of course, you've got there's always pros and cons to everything. So you always got to weigh your good with your bad and see which one's gonna. But yeah, you know, uh, the people I actually really really feel for, the less fortunate. We've got a lot of homeless that shouldn't be homeless. We've got prices that just keep skyrocketing, and of course the weathers and the turns of events with that. People have lost their homes due to the storms that y'all had over there,
yes,
and
over here, yes, thousands without power, and all the homes are filled with mud and silt, and we've got a heck of a clean-up job, and it's decimated many of the crop producers, like the kumara type potato and all other type of vegetables. It'll take some time for them to prepare the ground again and sow the seeds, and then you've got to wait for the seeds to grow. And But I know in Auckland it's generally more of a hotter climate up that way. But they do indeed see a lot more of the storms. But yes, the storms have been getting steadily more worse than they had been. But also too, when you don't have proper drainage systems to cope with all this extra water, you see they had about was it 76 or something Olympic size stadium swimming pools all dumped down on there all at once.
Mm,
And yes, it's a lot of supermarkets are closed too, with all the food floating down the aisles, and as it does.
yes. It's amazing. To me, I always kind of wonder, does it always take such a disastrous turn for people to come together and support each other? Um, I
Mm.
really, I really wish it wasn't like that. And being in a being in the community that we're in our hashtag toy community, you know, we support each other. We're constantly talking. We're watching. We're learning. We're seeing the different things. This, that, whatever. And this is really the digital age, and I kind of wonder: Are we moving to? Have we moved to a place where we're so numb because we've seen it over and over and over again through social media, through the media, period, and constantly having devices in our faces and in our hands? Have we become socially numb that it's we have to fight our own instincts just to go help someone?
And that when we have all these uh, uh, devices and electricity and so forth. And when that gets all knocked out by a decent storm or an earthquake, and then all of this stuff, your electricity is rendered useless. Of course, you have a little bit of a charge as long as that lasts, and you might have a bit of a spare backup power unit somewhere just in case, or but you'll most likely be concentrating on getting your flashlights and stuff all
Yes,
set up in case those things happen. But yes, definitely the communications can be ceased and become
absolutely.
useless. And also, too, you have risk of the sun's coronal mass injection. Of course, Earth is relatively protected, of course, due to its magnetic fields and so forth. You mostly see them in the southern lights and the aurora borealis there when all that occurs. But when you get a decent shot in there, it can disable much of the electricity. Your little probe devices that circle the Earth there that have all the GPS and transmitting the internet back down and all this sort of stuff. You're,
Yes,
you're back in the dark ages again. I believe it did happen sometime back in your history there uh, when you first started the Industrial Revolution.
absolutely.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's just there. There's a lot of things, um, and it kind of makes me happy to know that there's still humanity out here. People helping people, uh,
Mm.
but you're you're more than likely to hear the bad stories, the rigmarole before you're going to hear, hey, such and such, this group's helping this group, and blah blah blah, and why are we focusing on the negative when we could so easily focus on the positive and make it grow?
And yes, with technology also, we want everything done now. We want it quick. We want to we want to sit around and have it all come quick.
Absolutely.
It takes your focus away there, indeed.
But I am going to say, Eldor, it has been an absolute pleasure tonight as we are going on to 2 hours, 20 minutes. And this has been a absolute phenomenal evening with you. I appreciate you joining my stream. Um, let everyone know where they can find you.
Oh, well, as it is, my little description there, you can find me on Masterverse or Toy Hunter on the YouTube there, and the same name on Instagram also. And I have a bit of a community group on the Facebook there, the Masterverse or Toy Hunter community page. I think it's all worded like that. You have to answer a few questions, of course, to be approved to get in. But yes, I usually drop when my videos are going to go up there on that group page. It has a few followers at the moment, but yes, you can find me there also.
That's awesome. And everybody, I want to thank you for everybody who joined the stream, took the time to out of their day to come join us. We had a lot of fun. There was a lot of things that we talked about. King Grayskull, King Grayskull Devon, how they intertwined the two dimensions with that, the family lineage, hero, the two different heroes, the two dimensions that they are bound to. And it was a very, very good ride. I definitely enjoyed myself. I hope you all enjoyed. If you like this kind of content, please hit a like and subscribe to the channel as it helps the channel. It helps the channel grow. And have a very, very good night. Happy St. Patrick's Day. See you on the next one.
Good journey, everybody. Until next time.
Good journey.
Goodbye.